right, we are recording. Welcome everyone to the Freelance Recruiting webinar created by It's Raquel, aka Raquel, whichever one you want to call me. And thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to come learn with me about freelance recruiting and how you can get started. So freelance recruiting is very, very simple. It's basically a process that involves everything from identifying, screening, interviewing candidates, selecting candidates, helping your hiring managers or your clients find the perfect candidate with the right talent for that job. So for example, I mainly do healthcare. And right now I'm searching for physical therapists, registered nurse, travel nurses. So what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, I am searching for candidates that meets the minimum qualifications. If they have more, that's even better. So that's what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. I'm finding candidates, I'm sending their information over to the hiring manager so they can contact the client. And then if that candidate gets accepted, I get paid. So that's how freelance recruiting works. So it can be just you or it can be a group of recruiters. So if you want to start a recruiting agency, you can do that as well. And we'll talk about that later on because that's what I'm in the process of doing myself. So a freelance recruiter is somebody you will be 1099. So that means you're working on your own time and hours. You are waking up when you want to. You can work remote, whether it's in Dubai, Africa, Asia, Canada, wherever else that you could think of. That's the best thing that I like about it. I can work anywhere and where, just anywhere where I want to. Wake up when I want to and start working. So how can I put this? You're basically doing the same thing as a staffing agency, but on a smaller scale. That's what I would say. So that's pretty much how freelance recruiting works. Now let's get into the next part. Let's break down the difference between freelance recruiting and staffing agency. I know most people like to do the staffing agency part, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you do not have the mental obligation for a staffing agency, whether you have to deal with 5 employees or 50 employees, I don't recommend it. It's a great business, yes, but it requires a lot of you, which is why I'm no longer interested in doing the staffing agency part. I just rather become a freelancer and work, whenever I want to and just have to worry about myself. And if I hire maybe some people to work under me and do the same job, then I just have to worry about them. But here's the difference. With a freelance recruiter, as a freelance recruiter, you can get started sooner than starting a staffing agency. You also can earn just about the same amount as a staffing agency per placement as you would as a freelance recruiter. So if I have a job, and let's say one of the physical therapist jobs, if I were to fill a physical therapist role, they are going to pay me $5,000. But imagine if I do that 3 times a month. That's $15,000 that you've made in a 30-day period, if the guarantee period is 30 days. And we'll talk about that as well. So you still have that same earning potential to make 4 to 5 figures per placement. Another thing I like about freelance recruiting is that I don't have to find my own clients. There are networks out there and platforms that you can use to find the clients. They're already right there and you can get started right away. You can also work on your own time from anywhere, which I've already stated. Is way less paperwork. And if you have a staff agency, then you already know all of the paperwork that you have to deal with as a staff agency owner. But as a freelance recruiter, it's not much paperwork that you're going to have to worry about. The only paperwork that you're going to have to worry about as a freelance recruiter is maybe contracts such as like split agreements, 1099 paperwork, that you have to sign for tax purposes. But other than that, it's not a lot of paperwork. Another thing I like about freelance recruiting is there's no EOR agencies. And if you're not familiar with that term, it's just basically the people that handles payroll or will help you with payroll for your employees if you have a staffing agency. You don't have to worry about that. And I've already kind of went over the last part, but there's no major contracts required as a freelancer. Now, on the other hand, you have a staff agency that requires excessive paperwork. You have to sign up for workers' compensation. you have to get involved with EOR agencies because not a lot of people have that money up front for payroll to pay for their employees. You also have to find employees to work on your business. And if you know, do you know finding employees takes a lot of work? You have to do background checks. You have to train them how to do the job, especially if you're not dealing with people that's vets, like they already know how to do recruiting. But if you come across people that does not have experience as recruiting, you have to spend the time and money to train them how to become a recruiter under your business. Then, after you get all of that set up, you have to find your own clients. Some people that I know that have a staff agency, it takes them months to find clients, especially if you don't have automations in place. So it can take you months to find clients versus as a freelance recruiter, you can get started within a week on a network that already have the clients and you just splitting the fee. Another thing with staff agencies is that you are heavily relied on by your employees. So that means that they're checking in with you to make sure they need to do this task. They're checking in with you to see if they can take the day off for this. If you're acting as a manager over your staff agency, you're going to come across this very, very often that you see, okay, you have a lot of people depending on you. Do you want that stress? Just think about that. Another thing with the staff agency, you can run out of money to pay employees, especially if you don't have an EOR agency to help you with payroll. So those are some of the differences between freelance recruiting and the staff agency. Okay. Now, as a freelance recruiter, you have 7 phases. The 7 phases are identifying the hiring needs, preparing the job description, talent search is the 3rd phase, screening, interviewing, evaluation and offer of employment, and last but not least is basically introducing them as a new employee. That's if they get the job offer. And phase 7 will also include you getting paid. So now we're going to break down each and every phase so you guys can kind of understand it better. I go through these phases every single time that I'm doing recruiting, so you're going to do the same thing as well. So phase 1, this is the process where you're speaking with the hiring manager to determine how soon this client needs the job filled. So if I have a client, let's say that, let's think of a major hospital. I cannot think of the name, but I'm just going to think of one from my hometown, St. Francis Hospital. So let's say St. Francis has just built a new building extension and they need a lot of nurses on hand. So maybe you're speaking with the job manager and that job manager is telling you, hey, Raquel, we need 50 nurses right away. Like we have to get them ready to work within a week. We need you on this task for us to fill these jobs. So that's when you start communicating with that hiring manager and they letting you know everything that they need for this client. Okay. So they're telling you, okay, we need them within a week. We need 50 people. They have to have a bachelor's degree. They have to be willing to work overnight and sometimes weekends and maybe even the holidays. So you want to write down all of these things because when you go to speak with these candidates and you tell them this, either they're going to be with it or they're not. And some of these candidates may not be with it, especially if the monetary gain is not beneficial for them, you know. So this is phase 1. You're writing down everything, you planning out, okay, what do I need to do next to make sure these 50 jobs get filled for nurses? Okay, so that's how you find out the priority for your client. Phase 2. Now, this is very, very important. Phase 2, you want to understand the job role that you are filling. It does not matter if you have no experience in that job role, you still want to act as if you worked in that job before. Because even though I do healthcare, I don't know what them people do. But when they speak to me and I do the phone screening, it's going to make it seem like, okay, she knows what she's talking about. She knows a little bit about the job and what it entails. All I know with healthcare is that they take care of people. They help people get better. If it's like physical rehab or something, they help people learn how to walk. The job can be stressful. So I'm studying and learning about this job so I can better understand what the candidate will go through and if this job is a match for them. So you want to get deep down into it so you can kind of build that personal relationship with them while you're on the phone speaking with them about this job. Because if you have people that talk to you on the phone and you come off as a rookie, like you don't know what you're talking about, some people may think you're a scam. And we do have a lot of scammers in the recruiting and staffing world. You will get a lot of people from overseas trying to reach out to people to find jobs and find people to fill the jobs, and come to turn out is all a fake. So you got to be very careful. That's why you want to study and learn these jobs so you know how to present it to the candidate. So when I say that, read about the job description. What's the title of the job? What benefits does the job have? Do they have 401k? Do they have the employer match program? Where they match 4%, 6%, or whatnot. Do they have all of those things? Do they have where they will pay or compensate them for continuing education? Do they have to work weekends? How many days do they have to work? Is it long hours? How long are they going to be on their foot? How do they have to lift anything? If so, how much would it weigh? 50 pounds? 35 pounds? So all of these things are very, very important. So please make sure y'all writing this down, because you have to understand, as somebody, put yourself in the shoes of somebody that's seeking a job. If you get on LinkedIn, I guarantee you're going to see a sad story posted on there today about someone that has been searching for a job for months or probably even a year. I see it every day that I get on there. So you got to actually have a true passion of helping people change their circumstance. Don't just get into recruiting for the money. Get into it because you actually want to help people and you have a passion for helping people. Like, I enjoy helping people, teaching people, and try to make it as fun as possible. So it's the same thing recruiting. How can you help this person? How can you help them put food on their table? Especially, let's say that, I know I've seen the story where a husband was talking about how he lost his job and he's the only one that's responsible for, paying the bills, him and his 3 kids and wife. So sometimes, it's kind of like a cry for help from them, but how can you flip it around and make this story a better ending? So that's what recruiting is all about. Okay, so that's phase 2. Phase 3. This is the part that can become challenging for most people, and people stop and they just give up doing phase 3. Phase 3 is where you're going to source for these candidates. So this is where you're taking the time out to find these candidates. This can be through social media. This can be through LinkedIn, which I highly recommend. If you want to get into recruiting, everybody needs to be on LinkedIn by tonight. It only takes a second. Sign up with your Google account, or just sign up. You're going to need that. Another way that you can find agents is not agents. I'm thinking about the call center. Another way that you can find candidates is job boards, word of mouth, going to in-person events, whether they do like job fairs or something like that. You can actually find people like that depending on your niche. So let's talk about the job boards for a minute. So when you're in recruiting, you will see that a lot of job boards are good and a lot of them are bad. Do your research. Look at the reviews. Look at all of the reviews, because the reviews don't lie. It's been a lot of times where I was about to use a certain job board, and then I look at the reviews and they say something like, this company is not good because they take your money, but they're not even pushing out the job as much. So always check for those reviews, because if not, then you're just losing out on money. Some of these job boards can become expensive, but do you need that at first? No, you do not. You can start off using all of the free stuff first. Okay, don't think that you got to spend a lot of money to get started. Okay, and we'll talk about what you actually need to get started. You really don't need any money like that to get started with recruiting. And let me say, an example that I've come across with job boards has been $400 to $500 for 30 days to post your job. And that's for healthcare. I'm not sure how the other job boards are. I know like Craigslist, you could post an ad for a job. It's like $35 for 30 days, $35, something like that. So you can use Craigslist. That's another way to get candidates. But for the job board that I've come across for healthcare, it has been $400 to $500 for 30 days. I have not used one yet because I haven't needed to really. I've just mainly been using candidates off of LinkedIn for free. And that's really all you need. Okay, so phase 3, in short, is finding your candidates. How are you going to find this talent to match the job qualifications of these 50 nurses that we need to fill for this client? Okay, so that's phase 3. Now let's talk about the other 4 phases. Phase 4, now at this point, you found your candidate. So you found one candidate out of the 50 that you have to do. So you got 49 people to go. So once you find your candidate, now you have to get with them either on a video call or a phone call. Me personally, I just get on a phone call them up real quick. If you want to have a separate phone number to where you can reach out to the candidates so they won't have your personal number, you can do that. Me personally, I use my personal number. I really don't care. You know, what's the most they can do with that? Except blow me up after hours. I could change my number or block them. But if you want to have it to where you want to have a separate phone number, you can use Google Voice, iPlum, Ring Central. There's a lot of apps out there that you can use to specifically call people for the phone screening. So on the phone screening, some of the things that I go over with the candidate, I like to start off with just giving an introduction, telling them about the job, what it entails. Now, when it gets to this part, it's kind of tricky. Most clients do not want you to disclose the name, simply because if you disclose the name, let's say that the client that we're trying to fill the 50 jobs for the nurses, St. Francis, if we tell them, hey, Ben, St. Francis is currently hiring for nurses, and I just wanted to hop on a phone call with you to see, you know, if you have the right qualifications so we can go ahead and get you started. If Ben hears that, oh, this is through St. Francis, I can just apply on their website, then that means you won't get paid. So you got to be very, very careful when it comes to that, because they could just cut out the middleman. However, sometimes it kind of comes out, because I done had candidates that ask me, is it with this client or is it with that client? And I'll tell them either yes or no. Now, if it's been a yes, I'll say yes, it's that client. Then they'll tell me right off the bat, okay, I'm not interested. I worked for this client before. I didn't like it. And I can respect that, because I don't want to waste your time. We go through the whole interview process, the phone screen, and we go through all this work. And then you get to the interview and you're not even interested anymore. So it just kind of depends on the situation, on how you want to navigate. But just be careful with mentioning the client's name, simply because they can go right behind your back and apply through that company directly, and now you missed out on money. So that's why you want to represent your brand as a brand that they can trust, as a brand that they can depend on, that they know for sure can help them get the job and they can get into those doors quicker. Versus if they try to apply directly to that company, it's going to take even longer, because they're going through the recruiters first. So it really just depends on the situation. But phase 4, you'll be on a phone call. You want to start off introducing like the job title, the job duties. Most of the time the candidates will ask, okay, what's the work day like? Like, how many hours do I have to work? How many patients do I have to see? Or do I have to lift anything? Do I have to do any type of admin work? They're going to kind of help you navigate that phone screening. So just be careful. Just carefully listen to what they're saying, because they're going to kind of help you navigate the process. Some other things that I like to mention is, or ask them, what's your minimum salary that you're open to taking? Now, I've had some candidates that they don't agree with the salary. So what I do in that case is I let them know, well, how many years of experience do you have? And I had a candidate tell me they have 10 years of experience. I was like, okay, that's great. You know, I think my client, they'll be open to negotiate that salary for even a higher payout. So always speak with your manager, the job manager or the hiring manager, before you do the phone screening to see, okay, if I get on the phone with this candidate and they have 12 years or 7 years experience, do you have any type of incentive that you will pay them because based on their experience, if they don't go for the base salary? And if they say yes, make sure you relay that message to your candidate, because when I've done that, it has increased how many candidates I've been able to submit to the client because of that, because they're willing to negotiate that salary. So always mention that, okay? So that's phase 4. Getting on the phone, speaking with the candidate to make sure they match the job qualifications. Phase 5, which is one of my favorite parts, you are not responsible for the interviews. With most of the networks that I use, I don't do the interviews. I just do the phone screenings. The hiring managers and the clients and the CEO, sometimes they will handle the interviews. It depends on the job and how high it is on the bracket, like the level of expertise. You got your executive type jobs, that may require 2 or 3 interviews, and one of the interviews being with the CEO. So it really just depends. But you are not responsible for any interviews as a freelance recruiter. You just do the phone screening, pass over that information, and you get paid. So phase 5, during this phase, they will keep you updated to let you know, okay, if this, when did this candidate have their interview? How did the interview go? What are their thoughts on it? They'll let you know all of those things, depending on the platform that you guys decide to use. Not all of them will update you, but some of them will most of the time. So phase 5, you're not responsible for interviews. You're just going to do a write-up on that candidate to let them know why the hiring manager should interview them or choose them for that client. Phase 6. Phase 6 is the part where the client and the job manager will get together to determine, okay, is this candidate great for this job? Do they have the qualifications that we need? Do they have X amount of experience? Do they have a bachelor's degree like we asked for? Are they willing to work 40 hours and maybe one weekend every other week? So once they determine all of those things, they're either going to reject or offer that candidate a job. And they will keep you updated on that part. Now, let's say that they offer that candidate the job, then that's when we get to the most favorable part, which is phase 7. Phase 7 is a cha-ching, okay? So cha-ching is when they pay you for that candidate. Now, this is where we're going to talk about the guarantee terms. So the guarantee terms is different for each client. So you have 30-day, 45-day, 60-day, 90-day, and I've seen 120-day and 14-day before. But the most common ones, I would say, has been 30, 60, or 90 on some of the split networks. Me personally, I like to stick between the 30 and 45 as much as I can. Now, what this means, take a little sip of water. What this means is when I find a candidate, and let's say they get the job offer, that candidate has to be on the job for 30 days for me to get paid. So let's go back to the beginning where I talked about the nurses, right? We have 50 jobs that we need to fill for nurses for this new St. Francis hospital, okay? So once, let's say that 10 nurses, they all got offered a job, right? And let's say April 1st, they start. For you to get paid for that 30-day payout, they have to be on that job until April 30th. So that's why you want to continuously follow up with that candidate. Ask them, okay, how is the job going? Do you like it? Is there anything that I can do to help make it better? That's just in case something is going wrong. Try to be an advocate for them as much as you can. So that way they need to stay on that job, for 30 days so you can make your money, And I would tell them, like, if it's a 30-day guarantee, I would definitely tell them, well, just try it out for 30 days, see how you like it. And if you don't like it, I'll help you find another job. At least if they stay and quit, you still get your payout. Now, depending on the network that you choose, I haven't seen it yet, but I know in the staff agency world, some of these clients will want you to replace that candidate. So make sure if you guys sign any contracts, whether that's with a network or whether that's with somebody that you met on LinkedIn that needs your help filling these jobs, make sure you read the contract. If they say anything like, well, if you have a candidate that's on the job, well, let's say that we have a 30-day guarantee and your candidate quits on day 20, you are responsible for replacing that candidate. Read the fine print, because if you are responsible for replacing that candidate, now you have to go through the whole process of the 7 phases and find another candidate. And there's also some cases where some people will pay you up front for finding candidates, and if you either don't find one or you find one and that candidate quits, you have to refund them that money. So don't be quick to spend the money that you guys receive. Even with my call center or my digital product business, I don't spend that money quickly, because it could be a situation where somebody paid me for a service and maybe I don't have the time to do it. I'll just simply send them a refund. I'm quick when it comes to refunds. So always keep that in mind. But phase 7 is the good part. This is where you get paid. This is the 30-day guarantee, the 45-day guarantee, 60-day guarantee, 90-day. So it's the same process. If you have a candidate that start April 1st, they have to be on their job until May, June. No, wait. July 1st for you to get paid for that 60-day guarantee. Okay? So let me know if that makes sense in the chat before we move forward. If it makes sense, just type yes or no, because I want to make sure y'all understand that part, because that's important. Don't think that you're going to get paid right away. It's going to take some time for everything to kind of smooth out and for you to get your candidates rolling, get accepted, get a job offer. So everything is definitely going to take some time. Okay. Okay, makes sense. All right, good. All right. Kayla, you say you can't hear? Can everybody else hear me? I'm not sure. Okay. She probably just have to leave and come back. All right. So everybody understand the 7 phases in the guarantee period. Okay, so that's good. I'm glad I got y'all going. I try to explain things in a kindergarten type way, like try to break it down really, really good so y'all can understand it. All right. So the next part, I want to show you guys an example of what I do when I find a candidate, which is part of phase 3. So phase 3, this is where we said, okay, it's time for us to source for this talent. Mainly what I use is LinkedIn. Okay. So let's go back. Okay. Depending on the job, whether it's a physical therapist, registered nurse, registered nurse, CNA, doctor, dentist, HVAC tech, whatever. This is what you're going to do. Hold on one second. Okay. So when I'm searching, let's say for a physical therapist, this is LinkedIn, by the way. So everybody, make sure you put in your notes to sign up on LinkedIn tonight, especially if you want to get started with this week. So when I want to search for a physical therapist, I'm going to put in quotations physical therapist. When you do that, this is the search bar up here. You're going to type it in, and then the drop down menu will kind of look like this. You'll have a lot of options that pop up. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to hit enter. When you hit enter, it's going to bring up, let me see. Okay, let's go back. So physical therapist is going to look like this. When you go on here, you want to, let me see if I can find an arrow. That is a very thin arrow. You want to click on people. So right here, where it says people, you want to click on that. So you type it in, whatever job position, the job title, put in quotations, hit enter, and type and click on people. When you click on people, it's going to look like this next. So you see how the people is green. So you're going to be on this page. Now, depending on where you are hiring at, you're going to choose that location. Now, if it's a remote job, you don't have to do this part. But let's say that I'm hiring for physical therapists in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I'm going to click on people. Now I'm going to click on where it says location. So right here, let me get another arrow so y'all can see. So right here, where it says locations, you're going to click that and type in the location that you're currently hiring for, looking for physical therapists at. So I'm going to put Atlanta, Georgia. When I put that over here, it brings me up a lot of people that's in that area that matches that physical therapist job description. Okay? So you want to go through these people, and this is how you start building connections and finding those candidates. So let me break down. Let me see. I did have to cover their name for personal reasons. For some reason, when I post videos like this on YouTube, they kind of block it because it's personal information, public profiles, but they kind of weird about that. But I'm going to go through these people. Now, LinkedIn has a thing where some people can put a open to work badge on their profile picture. It's green. When you get on LinkedIn, you will be able to see it. I couldn't find one to show it to you guys, but just remember, write down, if you're taking notes, open to work badge is green. What that means is people are currently open for work. It's self-explanatory. They're looking for a job. Some of them may not be updated, but me, I reach out to every single person. I don't care if they have the badge on or not. So like all of these people that you see right here, I would still reach out to them, even if they're at a current job. I don't care. Because for one, maybe they're looking to switch jobs soon. Two, maybe they're not working at their location and they haven't updated their LinkedIn profile yet. So you still want to reach out to these individuals. So basically what I would do, I would send a connection. So right here, this third one, you see where it says connect? When you hit connect, it's going to turn into this at the top where it says pending. So normally when you hit connect, a box like this is going to pop up. And you want to send a message with it. You want to add a note to your connection request, because most people want to know, okay, why are you sending me a connection request? What do we have in common? What do we need to talk about? And you want to send a note every single time because there's so many scammers on LinkedIn. So normally what I do, I send something simple. Be human. You don't have to talk like a robot. I don't even say hi, so I don't even know why I said that. I normally say hey or how you doing or something like that. But in this case, I put, hi, my name is Raquel, and I wanted to ask you if you're looking for a new job as a physical therapist. and type in something relative to what you are looking for. So whether it's physical therapist, dentist, HVAC tech, CNA, travel nurse, engineer, whatever. Why are you sending them a connection request? And that is pretty much how you start making those connections and finding candidates. You're going to get a lot of candidates that do not reply, or you're going to get some candidates that say they're not interested, or you're going to have some that say, I'm happy with my place of employment. That's all a part of the process. Do not get discouraged. Do not give up because you're getting a lot of no's. So everybody in the chat, I want you to put this, and I need you to say it out loud. I will not give up. Even if you get a no, y'all need to put that in the chat. I will not give up. Okay? Because it's the same way, if you have a virtual call center business, whatever business, nothing is going to take off right away. We living in a popcorn, microwavable generation right now. Everybody want instant results. It's not going to happen. Especially because you're not even going to get that money right away anyway. It's going to take 30 days up to 120 days. Okay? So this is how you will find a candidate. Let's go back over it one more time. You're going to type in the job title on LinkedIn. You're going to hit people. Once you hit people, now you're going to go to locations. Type in the location that you're searching for that individual at. And then you're going to go over here. You're going to have a list of people that you can contact. You're going to contact them by sending a connection request. Type in a note for your connection request and go from there. Now I want to add on to this. This is where you may need to start investing money. Let's go back. I think it showed in right here. So let me get this. So y'all see right here where it says search with Sales Navigator. Now, this feature is $99.99 a month. The reason I have it is so I can send out messages to them. If you don't have Sales Navigator, then you don't have a way to message that candidate unless they accept your connection request. But in the beginning, you don't need it right away. Send out connection requests, post statuses. Sometimes I ain't gonna lie, I use ChatGPT to help me come up with a status because I do so much every single day. I don't have time to kind of think about, okay, what should I say today? I just say, hey, ChatGPT, can you create me a status based on people that's looking for a job right now? What are some motivational tips that I can give them? And I copy and paste, may change up some things and do it like that. But not to get off topic. You want to get real acquainted with making yourself look like a person that you can trust. So that's the reason why I brought that up. Post statuses, engage with people, and then people will accept your connection request. Before they accept your connection request, I'm quite sure they're going to look at your profile before they accept you. I've had it several times. And once they see, okay, she's actually somebody that helps people get jobs, then they're going to be like, okay, let me accept her. And that's when you start building those connections and then you start talking to them in their inbox. And then boom, you got another candidate in your pipeline that you can potentially make money off of. Okay? So just wanted to touch base on that. Sales Navigator, we might as well say $100 a month. And that allows you to send... Yannick, help me out if you can remember. Is it 120 emails? I can't remember. But it's basically 100 inboxes that you can send or messages that you can send to everyone. Okay? All right, let's go to the next slide. How to basically get started as a freelance recruiter. Let's talk about 4 things. The first thing is the knowledge. Y'all need to understand how this business works before you fully invest into it. So you're here today to learn the basics. Certifications is another way to learn more. You can take a course, webinars, in-person events, or get you a mentor. But you definitely want to get some type of knowledge before you invest into recruiting. The second part is the LLC, like the legal stuff, EIN, business bank account, and your name. Now, right off the bat, you do not have to have an LLC. You do not have to rush to get an LLC. The only reason I have an LLC is because of my virtual call center. And so I'm working as a recruiter under that LLC. So when it comes time for me to report income, I'm going to report it under that LLC. I'm not a professional. Don't ask me about no taxes. Talk to a professional person that's in that industry and they will tell you how everything should be set up. Okay? The EIN is kind of the same thing. Don't get any of this until you actually start making money. So you don't need to spend money right in the beginning for LLC or EIN, especially if you ain't making money. That just don't make any sense. So why would you get an LLC if you ain't making money? Okay? Business bank account. Some of the business bank accounts that you guys can use online. I use Bluevine, Chase. I got those two. Bluevine is an online business bank account. It does not have like a walk-in facility, but I had no issues out of them. I've had them since I started my call center business in 2022. No issues whatsoever. Another bank similar to Bluevine is Novo, Novo. Novo is another online business bank account that a lot of people like to use. So you just want to keep your business money separate from your personal money. And depending on the structure of your business, you want to put yourself on payroll. So talk to a professional to see how you should set it up. And last but not least is your name. When it comes to names, do not include the type of business. If it's a tax business, you do not have to say Raquel's Taxes. If it's a recruiting business, you don't have to say Raquel Recruiting Services. Any type of business that you're doing does not need to include your name or the type of business you're doing. None of my businesses include my name in it. Like my LLC is virtually connected. It does not have the type of business. It doesn't say virtually connected call center. Because if you try to get funding in the future, some of those things can be a red flag to the underwriters. And they won't grant you any loans or any credit cards or anything like that. So just be mindful when y'all are setting up, your business names and things like that. And when you set everything up, everything needs to be cohesive. Don't have Raquel Tax Services on your business bank account and then your EIN is Raquel Business and More. Everything needs to be one name, one cohesive business, one brand logo, all the same brand colors. It's going to make you look more trustworthy. Last but not last, but the next thing is your niche. What niche do you want to service? And you don't even have to choose a niche if you don't want to. If you want to explore all of these options to recruit candidates, you can. Me personally, I do healthcare and sometimes I do trade jobs like HVAC tech, commercial, and things like that. But you can choose any niche. You can stick to one. I like healthcare specifically because of the platform that I'm on. They have a great system in place. So I mainly stick to healthcare. So healthcare, accounting, engineering, construction, warehouse, logistics, trade jobs. You can do all types of jobs. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Don't limit yourself. You don't have to. And last but not least is building your brand. Get you a website, get you a professional website made, or you can make it yourself. I made my own website through Wix, virtuallyconnectedstaffing.com. Y'all can look it up. It's very simple and straight to the point. You don't have to overcomplicate it at all. Start building your social media. You can do Instagram. You also want to build a business page on LinkedIn because that's where you're going to find a lot of your candidates. I will build a LinkedIn account, a Facebook business account for your brand, and those are my top two. You can also do Instagram, but I really don't feel like you'll find a lot of candidates on Instagram. So you want to build your social media presence where you can find a lot of candidates. Another way to build your brand is going to local events. If you guys go on score.org, SCORE.org, they have a lot of resources that you guys can look into. Sometimes they have events that will pop up in your local area. I love Score. Score also allows you to find a mentor in your area. Okay? Another resource is your libraries. Get active in your libraries. You never know what type of events they're going to have. Your local state website, they have a lot of events for business owners as well. It doesn't have to just be for recruiting. It can just be for any type of business mindset thing. Like I know for SCORE, I got a lot of webinars that I've attended for business management or how to register your business on Google. They have a lot of resources that you guys can use. And last but not least is collaborations. Collaborations always over competition. I love collabing with different people in the same field or a different field. And we come together and make something pop. So always be open to collaborate. Always be open to learning more. Keep your continuing education rolling. I don't care how many years of business that I've been in. I'm still going to continuously learn. Just like with, if you guys know, I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I just had to renew my license this year. And for every time that we renew it, we have to do a 5-hour continuous education class. So I had to sit for 5 hours. Oh my gosh, it was so boring. But the idea of that is to make sure you still know your things. Everything is refreshing. You're up to date with the laws and whatever else. So I always have that continuing education on board. Okay. Now let's look at one of my favorite things, which is a split network. With a split network, this is how you're going to be able to get on here and start making money right away. Sooner than the staff agency. So one of the split networks is Splitly, Split-L-E or Splittle. I don't know how they say it. And so this network is paired with is IBOVI staffing, and what they do is they have job opportunities that they need filling. Okay, zoom in so you guys can see. So when you get on here and you create a profile, and I'll send you guys a link after so you guys know how to find it, because sometimes people spell it incorrectly. I'll send an email to everybody after this call, or I'll drop it in here. Basically, when you get on here, they're going to have all the jobs look like this. Most of the jobs that I've seen on this website has been construction, engineering, manufacturing, and legal. Legal is like attorneys and things like that. So with this platform, you see the commission. That's how much you will make after you place that candidate. So let's say for this project designer job, right? This is in the construction industry. So once I find a candidate for this job and I go through, I see if they have the qualifications. It can be 3 years of experience in this field, or they have to have a master's or certificate, whatever. This is the salary, which is $50,000 to $80,000, and this is your commission. So when you find a candidate for this job, this is what they're going to pay you. Let's say that you do 3 of these a month. So we're just going to choose these top 3. All right. So on the low end, you got $6,000 for that first job. The second job on the low end is $9,720. The third job is $9,600. So I know with Splitly, I believe it's 60 to 90 days guaranteed. That's $25,000 that you've made in that time frame, which is not bad, because most people are not making $25,000 even in 6 months. So this is what you can potentially make. Okay. And so that's how it works as a freelance recruiter. I didn't have to find these clients. These clients are already on here and they just need my help finding these candidates. So let me zoom out. And then with this, you can start as soon as they accept you. Like I know this platform, they don't do any type of interviews. They don't ask for a resume or anything. You just sign up and then you just go ahead and get to going. And once you get on there, they're going to ask for like the basic information about your candidate. So the first name, last name, email, how many years of experience do they have? Do they have a cover letter, resume? All of that information. They have that on there for you to submit. Okay, does this make sense to everybody on how this works? Let me know in the chat before we move forward. Yannick, no, I did not use my LLC. I just signed up with my personal information. No, I did not have to change my LLC name to add the staffing to it. No, I just bought the domain. You don't have to do that. All right, so everybody understand it. Good, good, good. Okay, good. Now, when you find your candidates, some of these people will ask you to do a candidate write up. And when you do a candidate write up, it's just like a summary. Like, why should this candidate be on this team for the client? So they want to know about their experience. Do they have X amount of experience in the we dealing with nurses, so we just gonna say in the nurse industry. Like, how many years of experience do they have as a nurse? Where did they graduate? What school did they graduate from? Or did they get a master's, bachelor, any certificates? You know, all of these things they're gonna ask. Relocation. Are they looking to relocate? If so, does does the client offer relocation assistance? What skills and expertise do they have? Industry knowledge. Do they know their industry well? Because I don't know about y'all, but for me, if you in the healthcare industry and you showing me that you don't even know about your field, I'm not even gonna waste my time on you, because you're not about to be taking care of my grandma. You don't even know which vein you should be, pumping something in or taking blood out. No, that's dangerous. So you want to have a kind of compassion if you're going to do healthcare recruiting. So you want to think about that like, I don't know, this person don't seem like they know what they're talking about. Would I want them taking care of my family? So think about that. It really just depends on the type of job, but you kind of get my point. Problem solving abilities. If it comes to an agitated customer, how well can they deal with it? Have them give you an example during the pre-screening. And then you want to write that in your candidate summary. And last but not least, communication skills, which will kind of tie in with the problem solving abilities. It'll kind of go together. So let me show you guys an example. If I'm doing a candidate summary write up, this is kind of what it's going to look like. Okay. I am delighted to present an exceptional candidate. The candidate we're just going to say is me, Raquel, for the physical therapist position within your healthcare organization. Raquel holds a master's degree in physical therapy, surpassing the educational qualifications outlined for the role. Key qualifications that she has: she has a master's in physical therapy. She possesses a robust academic background with a master's degree in physical therapy, demonstrating a deep understanding of the field. She also has an ABPTS certification. She brings a level of expertise and commitment to excellence that aligns seamlessly with your organization's standards. Some other certifications that she has wellness coaching certification, clinical exercise physiologist certification. Ooh, that just made me sound slow. And then the next one is certified cardiac rehabilitation professional certification. She has all of these certifications, so I'm writing down what this candidate has in the summary. The experience and accomplishments that she has, you want to include, okay, what has she done in the past? What did she get employee of the month? Did she win some type of award or something like that? You want to put that in the summary write-up. The cultural fit. She's not only highly skilled and certified physical therapist, but she's also a team player with excellent communication skills. She knows how to show leadership. They want to see things like that when you're doing a summary. A future potential would be with a proven track record in enhancing patient outcomes and a commitment to continuous learning. Raquel is poised to make meaningful contributions to your organization's success. I am confident that Raquel is an ideal fit for your physical therapist position, bringing a unique blend of clinical expertise, certifications, and a passion for promoting patient well-being. I am eager to discuss how Raquel can contribute to the success of your healthcare team. So this is pretty much what you're doing in the candidate summary write-up. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? It's kind of self-explanatory. You just basically giving an overview. So it's like you're creating a cover letter for the hiring manager or the client to look over, in a sense. So that's pretty much how it works. Okay, let me see. Does that make sense to everybody? Let me know. Let me know. And now we're gonna talk about payouts a little bit, which we kind of already touched based on, but just to give you guys a roundabout of what you can potentially make. This is just an example. If you were to do placements for $5,000, so if I have jobs and that client is paying me $5,000 for each job, like let's say for the physical therapist role, if I do one placement a month, that's 5,000. 3 placements, 15. 5 placements, 25,000. And then y'all get the point. Okay, the more placements, the better. Now this is only if you have a 30-day guarantee period. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, one of my other favorite things I like about freelance recruiting is that I can outsource 80% of the work. So what I do currently, I have a recruiter that I hire and I only pay him $6 per hour. And he does majority of the work for me. Now his time zone is different from my time zone. Like right now, it is, what time is it over there? It's 6 a.m. So it's Monday over there for him. So he's about to clock in at 9 my time. So in 3 hours, he will be clocking in. So while I'm asleep, he's doing all the work for me. Okay? So you can find these individuals on LinkedIn or other websites. And most of them don't want more than $12. And it's because our value of money is worth more over there. So our money is a lot to them where they're at. So the $6 per hour for me is cheap for him to do the work, but for him that may be $20 per hour. Okay, so that's what I do, and you can build you a team of people to do the work for you. And we're gonna break that down. So let's do the math because I love numbers. If I get 2 recruiters from overseas, right, I pay them $5 per hour on a 40-hour work week. So that means I'm paying about $400 a week. Well, I put them on every 2-week payroll. So $800, what's that? $400 a week. Okay, $800 every 2 weeks. So $1,600 a month in payroll is what you paying for a $50,000 return for your goal of 5 placements. So we do 5 placements, and we do they do 5 placements each, right? That's $50,000 that you made. And this could be more. It could be less. But I just want to show y'all an example. Set those goals. Write down your goals. And when I first hired him, I sat with him. We did a video call for like an hour. I spoke with him about my goals, what our plan is, how many candidates we should be submitting each and every week, how many people we need to get in our pipeline, how many people we need to follow up with. You got to tell these people, what do you want for your business? And lucky for me, he was already experienced, so I didn't have to train him on anything. He already know what he's doing. So I didn't have to train him on nothing. Okay? Some of the tools that they are going to need, you are going to pay for. Like for Sales Navigator, I have to pay for that because he's working for me. So why would he pay for that? So Sales Navigator, I pay for that. Indeed, I pay for that. But look at the bigger picture. If you get 2 recruiters, $5 an hour, they doing all the work for you, majority of the work. The only thing you're really doing is the phone screening and submitting. They doing all the sourcing for the candidates, following up with them, talking to the candidates. Now, sometimes I will follow up after him because me and him, we use the old school way. I like to use spreadsheets. So on these spreadsheets, I'm writing down, okay, who I followed up with, what candidate is this, what's their LinkedIn profile, if they're interested or not. And he has a spreadsheet too, keeping up, showing me what he's been doing. And I also have a clock in time for him to clock in and clock out. Okay, and he get an hour lunch break. So I think this is pretty good. I'm only spending $1,600 for a return of $50,000. So there should be no complaints about $1,600. Now, as a beginner, don't do this if you don't have the money. Work on your own first. until you can be able to afford this. So I have other businesses too. So I have digital products. I have an eBay dropshipping store, the virtual call center. So I'm able to afford to pay him until, the placements start consistently rolling in, which they have been since bringing him on the team. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Outsourcing, I think that's one of my favorite parts about being a freelance recruiter is that I can pay somebody low in labor, which you're going to have some people that say, oh my gosh, you're taking advantage of them. No, you're not. That's the wage that they ask for because they know the cost of living over there more than you do. So keep that in mind. They know way more than you do. So don't think you taking advantage of somebody. They're able to feed their families on that. And me and him, we have a great relationship. Like, we were just talking last night. He was like, oh, you should come visit. Because I was like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty over there, where he's at. And then we just have that personal relationship. We still get the business done, but you want to build a relationship with somebody that you're going to be with long term if this is a long term thing for you. Okay? So that's one of my favorite parts. Now, I want to talk about some of the people that I've helped so y'all can know this is real. I don't know if it's people that, if some of you guys have been with me for a while, how long you guys have been following me, but I've helped a lot of people. I've come across a lot of great people. I've had a few sour patches, but that's a part of life in any business that you go into. But these two ladies right here, they let me know that they were accepted on the some of the networks, and they used the tips that I showed for the resume, because some of them will ask for like a resume or cover letter, and they were able to get accepted. So they're ready to go. It does not take long, y'all. I promise you, you can probably apply tonight and get accepted tomorrow. It really just depends. If not tomorrow, it's going to be next week. So y'all can get on this like starting today. But everybody needs to make sure you have a LinkedIn account. So recruiting, to me, freelance recruiting is the best way to go to get started. The staff agency is cool. I'm not knocking it. The staff agency is cool, but it takes more mental capacity. Like, your mental has to be on point because it's a lot of paperwork you're going to have to do, a lot of employees you're going to have to deal with, and I just don't want to deal with that. I just want to work for me and deal with my recruiter that I have and go from there, because you deal with a lot of people in the U.S. To try to work with, and you're going to see that's going to really irritate you. Now, another option that you guys can do, if you don't want to, let's go back to this, outsource to people overseas, you can find somebody on LinkedIn that's in the U.S. and you do a what they call a split fee. So a split fee is basically what you're doing on the networks, but you will be doing it with people that you just met online and say, hey, do you want to team up with me? And we find candidates together for this position. You get 50%, I get 50%. And let's say that it's for one of these jobs here. So let's say that it's for the first job. If you do a split agreement, that means, okay, you'll get $3,000, I'll get $3,000. Or if it's on the higher end, you'll get, how much is that in half? 58? 48. I think 48. 4,800, I get 4,800. So that's basically what a split agreement is. So that's another option you can do, and you don't have to pay up front to work with somebody in the U.S. Y'all can just do 1099 and go from there, okay? So honestly, I feel like if you don't have any experience in the recruiting industry, freelance recruiting is the best route to go. You don't have to have any type of degree. I had no experience before doing this. Even with the call center, my background is doing hair, making people look good. I had no background in doing this. I had no background in business management, HR, none of that. Okay? So the last but not least, and oh my gosh, I forgot to talk about the giveaway. But for those that stay to the end, I am doing a Cash App giveaway. I'm going to do a random drawing to everybody who participates. But before we get into that, you got two options with me. For 24 hours, if you're a visual learner and you need to watch videos, tutorials on how to source these candidates, how to get your resume together, how to apply to these platforms, I'm giving y'all a code to get the course for $100. This is the code webinar. Y'all got 24 hours. It expires May 1st. Well, I ain't gonna say May 1st. May is going up. If you want just the networks that I use to get started, it's only 25. If you feel like you know what you're doing, you don't need to you don't need to watch my videos to get the course. $25, you can get those split networks. That's all you need. And I know some of you guys, you already got it. And I know some of you already got approved, which congratulations to that, because now you can go ahead and get started. Okay? So if you have the split networks, all you got to do is this right here. Search the job title, get on here, find the location, connect with them, send them a message, and then you do the phone screening. So y'all remember the 7 phases. This is what you're doing. Okay? But $25 for that, the course $100, and use this code. So now we're going to get into Q&A. But before we get into Q&A, if you follow me on Instagram, and let me start recording.